What if the secret to an unbreakable mind wasn't in your morning routine at all, but in what you do after the sun goes down? Most people treat their nights like a garbage dump. Scroll through their phone, eat whatever's left in the fridge, collapse into bed with a head full of noise, and then wake up wondering why they feel weak, scattered, like they're just surviving instead of actually living. But the samurai, they treated their nights like sacred ground. The hours after battle weren't wasted. They were used, with intention, with discipline. And honestly, the gap between those ancient warriors and the average person in 2025 isn't as big as you think. It's not about swords or armor. It's about what you choose to do when no one's watching. So stick around, because by the end of this, you're going to see your evenings completely differently.
The samurai mindset on nighttime. Here's something most people get completely wrong about the samurai. We think of them as pure warriors, guys who just trained, fought, and sharpened their blades all day. Action, action, action. But that's only half the picture. The samurai operated under a philosophy called bushido, the way of the warrior. And bushido wasn't just about how you fight, it was about how you think, how you rest, how you reflect. The samurai understood something that modern neuroscience is only now catching up to. Your mind needs the night to process, reset, and grow stronger. Think of it like this. Imagine your brain is a sword. All day you're using it, slashing through problems, cutting through decisions, handling people, handling stress. By evening, that blade is dull. If you just throw it in a corner and go to sleep, you wake up with the same dull blade. But if you sharpen it, that's a different story. The samurai had rituals, not routines, rituals. And there's a huge difference. A routine is something you do automatically. A ritual is something you do with meaning, with presence. The samurai weren't just going through the motions at night. They were preparing their minds for what was coming next. And here's the thing that really got me when I first learned this. These habits aren't complicated. They don't require special equipment or an hour blocked in your calendar, but they will absolutely change you if you actually do them. Let's get into it.
Habit 1. The evening reflection. Hansei. The first habit is called Hansei. It's a Japanese concept that roughly translates to self-reflection, and it was as important to a samurai as physical training. Every evening, the samurai would sit quietly, not to relax, not to zone out, but to review the day with brutal honesty. What went well? What didn't? Where did they act with honor? Where did they fall short? Now, I know what you're thinking. I already replay my failures in my head before bed, thanks. But that's not Hansei. That's rumination, and there's a massive difference. Rumination is emotional. It's spiraling. It's lying there at 2 a.m. replaying that embarrassing thing you said in a meeting 6 years ago. Hansei is structured. It's calm. It's a soldier cleaning his gear, methodical, purposeful, without drama. Here's how you actually do it. Spend 5 to 10 minutes at the end of your day, not in bed, not on your phone, just sitting somewhere quiet. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What did I do today that moved me forward? 2. What held me back, and why? 3. What will I do differently tomorrow? That's it. You don't need a leather-bound journal. You don't need a candle burning and lo-fi music playing, though honestly that does hit different. You just need 5 minutes of honest conversation with yourself. The samurai believed that a warrior who couldn't face himself in the mirror of reflection would eventually be defeated, not by an enemy, but by his own blind spots. And you know what? They were right. But here's where it gets interesting, because reflection alone isn't enough. The second habit is what locks the lessons in.
Habit 2. Deliberate stillness, Zazen. The samurai practiced Zen Buddhism, and one of the core practices was Zazen, seated meditation. Now, before you click off thinking, I've heard this 1,000 times, just hear me out. Because the way the samurai approached meditation was not what most people think meditation is. They weren't trying to empty their minds. They weren't trying to feel peaceful or float away on a cloud of relaxation. The samurai sat in Zazen to become comfortable with discomfort, to train their minds to stay calm when everything around them was chaos. Here's a perfect analogy. You know how deep-sea divers train in a pool first? Not because the pool is dangerous, but so that when the actual ocean tries to drown them, their body already knows what calm feels like. They've practiced being calm under pressure in a controlled environment. That's Zazen. You sit still, your thoughts race, your body gets restless, you want to check your phone, and you don't. You stay, you breathe, and slowly, slowly, you build this incredible mental muscle that most people never develop. Research actually backs this up. Regular evening meditation has been shown to lower cortisol levels, improve sleep quality, and, this one blew my mind, physically thicken the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and emotional control. The samurai didn't have the brain scans, but they had centuries of warriors testing this in real life and real battle. The results spoke for themselves. You don't need to sit for an hour. Start with 10 minutes, just 10. Sit somewhere comfortable, close your eyes, and every time a thought shows up, and they will, gently bring your attention back to your breath. That's it. That's the whole practice. The magic isn't in the technique, it's in the showing up night after night. And speaking of showing up, the next habit might surprise you because it has nothing to do with thinking at all.
Habit 3. Physical wind down. The sword becomes still. Here's something we tend to forget. The samurai were physical beings. Their bodies were their instruments. And they understood something that modern sports science confirmed thousands of years later. The transition between intense activity and rest needs to be gradual. You can't sprint at full speed and then just stop. You'll cramp. You'll seize up. You need a cool down. Mentally, most of us try to go from 100 miles an hour to 0 the moment we hit the pillow. We're answering emails at 10:30, and then we're confused why we can't fall asleep at 11. Our nervous system is still running. It doesn't just switch off because we turned the lights off. The samurai had a physical wind-down practice built into their evenings. This included light stretching, deliberate breathing exercises, and sometimes a slow, mindful walk. They called it preparing the body for mushin, the state of no mind, where you're not thinking, not forcing, just being. For you, this looks like a 10-minute stretch before bed. Not a workout, not yoga with goals, just slow, intentional movement. Roll your shoulders, stretch your neck, breathe into the tightness in your hips that you've been ignoring for 3 months. Let the body tell you where the day's stress has been storing itself. One thing I'll add, and this is my personal twist on the samurai approach, no screens during this wind down, not even relaxing content. The samurai didn't have blue light attacking their melatonin, but we do. That gentle movement period is your buffer zone. Guard it like a warrior guards his post. And then comes the final habit, the one that ties everything together, the one the samurai considered the most powerful of all. Habit 4. Mental preparation for the next day, the warrior's vision. Before a samurai slept, he would mentally rehearse the next day, not obsessively, not anxiously, but deliberately. He would picture the battles ahead, the challenges, the required decisions, and he would see himself moving through them with clarity and skill. This practice is now called visualization, and elite athletes use it religiously. Olympic sprinters, Navy SEALs, professional surgeons. They all mentally rehearse before high-stakes moments. Because your brain, remarkably, doesn't fully distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you visualize clearly, you're actually programming your nervous system to perform. For the samurai, this wasn't optional. You wouldn't walk onto a battlefield unprepared mentally any more than you'd walk on unprepared physically. The mind needed to have already been there. So your version of this: spend 5 minutes before sleep, eyes closed, phone face down, and just walk through tomorrow. Not your to-do list, not your worries. You moving through the day with intention. See yourself waking up focused. See yourself handling the hard conversation with calm. See yourself choosing the right meal, making the workout, finishing the work. You're not manifesting, you're preparing. There's a difference. The samurai never sat around hoping for victory. They prepared for it so thoroughly that victory became almost inevitable. That combination, reflection, stillness, physical release, and mental preparation, that's the full cycle. That's the 4 pillars of a samurai night ritual. And when you stack them together, night after night, something genuinely shifts.
Closing. Look, you don't have to be a warrior to think like one. You've got battles of your own. Pressures, decisions, relationships, goals. The noise of modern life is arguably harder to navigate mentally than anything the samurai faced with a sword, because at least they could see their enemy. Yours is invisible. It's distraction. It's reactivity. It's the slow erosion of your focus and your clarity, because you've been treating your nights like throwaway time. The samurai knew better, and now, so do you. Start tonight. Pick just one of these habits: the reflection, the stillness, the wind down, the visualization, and commit to it for 1 week. Just 1 week. See what happens. I promise you'll feel the difference faster than you expect. And if this video made you think differently about your evenings, do me a favor. Drop a comment below with the one habit you're starting tonight. I read every single one. And if you want more content on mental strength, ancient wisdom, and building the kind of discipline that actually lasts, you know what to do. The sun's going down. Your evening belongs to you. Use it like a warrior.